is a tutorial of side crow. And the benefits of this pose strengthens hands, wrists, inner thighs, arms, back, body, core. And it takes all of those things to achieve this pose. It's very advanced. So warming up would be probably some sun salutations, some twists, tons of oblique work, core, inner thigh work. So maybe like airplane pose, core on your back, bicycles, all that good stuff. All right, let's get into it. So I'm going to show you just the, I guess, more advanced version for most, but I also feel it's more accessible, and then I'll show you how to do it with props and the cheat version. So if you're just going to get into it, you come down into a squat, feet together, knees together, and then turn your knees off, in my case, to the left. From here, it's a big twist. So thinking about lengthening the spine on the inhale, exhale, turning and twisting to the right. And then I'm going to set my right hand way out, like I'm going to take a push-up, and my left arm goes inside the outer right thigh. And then as much as I can, I'll bring the hands back a little bit. Grip the mat with the finger pads and roll the first finger into the midline so you can see the entirety of the first finger nail. And then from here, you'll hike the legs up on to the arm closest to the legs. It's a one arm balance. We need to make sure that we don't collapse the collarbones. So taking the collarbones wide, have the arm bones lift, squeeze scapula to spine. Continue to twist the belly from the right to the right, away from the legs, and shift the weight onto the shelf. Keep the scapula contracted. And now from here, lift the top leg like a fire hydrant. Flare the toes, active feet, and shift and reach the sternum forward. Then, if you want more, you will lift the bottom foot, keep the scapula contracted, core is turned on, feet are turned on and glued together. Gaze can be toward the direction of your feet or down. Whew. And then we come down. Okay, other side. Swinging legs to the right, gluing the inner thighs together, knees together, feet together. Taking my right arm now on the outside of my left outer thigh. My left hand goes way out as if I'm going to take a push-up or chaturanga. From here, twist from the navel over to the left, extend through the sternum, and shift the weight forward. Okay, lift the right leg like a fire hydrant, bend the elbows a little bit, collarbones nice and wide, reach for the sternum, grip the mat with the finger pads, lift the bottom leg, squeeze, breathe, and come back down. So that's side crow. If you want to do extended side crow, you would straighten the legs. Again, that takes a ton of work, so you want to be properly warmed up. And then for side crow with props, which this is really great, you can take one block. I have 3. And I'll go over to this side again. And then you can set your hips up on a couple blocks just to keep the height going. Because these arm balances that I'm teaching are usually from the ground up, we're using a lot of strength and core versus the help of, gravity or like muscling yourself into the pose. So now I'm going to sit my hips up on, or my sits bones up on the block, swing my knees to the right. So I've kind of got this outer right hip or even sit bone on the block. And then right hand goes way out and left arm comes inside the outer right thigh. Grip the mat with your finger pads, little bend in the elbows, shift the weight forward. I'm going to see if this block can catch my left shoulder. So once you place the left hand down, you put the block right in front of the left fingertips. Okay, turning and twisting away from the legs, gluing the legs together, shifting your weight forward a little bit. Maybe even take the right hand out wider. A little bend in the elbows, collarbones wide. Lift fire hydrant leg, and then the bottom leg. And then maybe that block can help here. It'll help keep the collarbone square. That's under the shoulders. You got to work on picking up this right one. A lot of work on the back body. If I were to do that on the other side, taking my block now over to the left, swing my knees to the right. Right arm, or first inhale, lift, spine tall, twist, twist, twist. To the left, take my right arm inside the outer left thigh, and maybe set that block in front of the right fingertips. Shift as you need. Left hand goes way out. Hike that shape up onto the legs, or the arm, the one arm, and then maybe you just work on this weight shift, but knowing you have these blocks underneath the sits bones to come back down on at any time. Shift forward, reach for the sternum, fire hydrant the top leg, active feet, active toes, and then come down. Look in the same direction as the feet, maybe extend the legs, pick up the left shoulder, breathe, and come back down. So I'm still working on this pose. It's so hard because you are using one arm. So just be patient. I've been practicing for almost 2 decades, and this pose is still a work in progress, work in practice. So just have fun with it. You can always have a pillow as a launch pad for your face. And then I think if you're just interested in the final version of the little cheat, this is the one I've always taken as a practitioner until I learned the one I just taught you. But you have to be so twisty, not have any like lower back issues and not have like a rib cage that might get in the way. So a lot of body mechanics here, and a lot of bodies are not going to twist this deep. So that would be keeping the knees, feet together, but twisting from the upper body, taking both hands, facing them away from the toes. Fingers spread nice and wide, elbows bend. Hike both legs up. Now you've got 2 arms to use. It has a shelf here, upper arms. And then even again, not letting the collarbones collapse, thinking of the head of the arm bones lifting to the sky, shifting the weight, gluing the legs together, and then kicking the legs forward. So that variation gets you both the upper arms to use as a shelf. It's not a bad one to try. It's still a fun arm balance. But the first variation is the more advanced. You're using just one arm. However, that second variation is so twisty, doesn't work for a lot of bodies, so why not just try and build your strength for the first one, and then we can all play with that. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll make sure the notes are in the description of this tutorial. Namaste.